The December pre-orders have been revealed for Warcrow, and we're going to have a look at them along with their profiles to see if these are some models that you're going to want to buy, to paint, and to play with. First of all, we've got a couple of boxes coming for the Syennan. First of all, we've got a set of support troops. He's got two models in here that have two models which have a very different kind of playstyle approach. Both I think are going to be pretty good on the table. The first of which we have is the Shadow of Hawthorn. This guy basically seems to do what Hegemony does, but better than Hegemony, which is he's going to basically contest objectives very effectively and be very hard to shift. He can basically get into close combat. He has a very good defense roll, not a particularly great offensive attacking roll, but he can definitely take damage, especially because he's got a switch that gives him an extra shield on the defense, which is really, really good. And even on his attack as well, you can choose to stress him to get a defensive buff if you're worried about taking wounds when you're attacking. But not only has he got a good defense, but also on his offense, he's got a really good switch that causes the opponent or the target to be disarmed. This makes it even harder for an attacking unit to hurt him. So he's definitely got a lot of survivability, quite different from many of the other Syennan units. The Shadow of the Hawthorn is also really good at contesting objectives. Not only does it have a conquest of 2, making it one of the stronger contesters for objectives, but any units that it is engaged with, it will reduce their conquest by 1, and it will stop them from being able to move or place, I think, as well. Yeah, they cannot be moved or placed. So they are really kind of sucked into this combat where this guy's sitting there and just basically conquesting the objective and taking out a unit. I think this guy's really quite good. He does seem quite survivable, theory-wise anyway, on the tabletop. Whether he is, that one we have to wait and see. I have to play some games and try him out, see if that would happen. But I think he's pretty good. For 25 points, you can basically just hold a unit in place and make sure that you're the one taking that objective from them, which can really hamstring the opponent if the rest of your army is very, very agile and moving around. I like him a lot. I think he's a pretty cool model, and he looks pretty cool too. He looks a very offensive, scary kind of character as well. I'll definitely be very interested in trying to paint this one up in my autumn colors for my elves, if I do eventually get him. The other model in the set is the Shadow of the Rowan. And this is another really cool model. The Syennan, just hands down, the model sculpts are freaking beautiful. I have to take a moment just to say this. They're really, really good. I'm not always that drawn into wood elves, but I remember as a kid loving the wood elves from Warhammer Fantasy Battle long time ago. And I thought they were really cool at those times with the war dances and stuff like that. But the Warcrow wood elves, the Syennan, freaking amazing sculpts. I just wanted to say, I really, really like them. And it's although I haven't been able to put much time into Warcrow because we've been really, really pushing a lot of Infinity in Osaka, I did actually get to do a demo game just the other day, and it's made me want to round out my armies. And because I've got the basic Syennan action pack, I'm just like, I've probably got to get a few more models for Syennan. So I'm really tempted by this set. I think it's a really good one. And yeah, Shadow of Rowan as well. A very useful unit. Very, very different from the Hawthorn model. This one, you want to keep your distance quite a bit. And it has an amazing range of 18 strides for his shooting action. So the Shadow of Rowan is definitely a harassing unit, as it's very hard to engage. If you try to charge, it can drop traps and cause extra damage to anyone trying to charge in. It also gets a really good line of sight blocking ability with camouflage, meaning that if you're within 3 strides of any terrain piece, any models 7 strides or more away from you cannot get line of sight to you, which is pretty crazy. So this guy's just sitting at the back, causing you just issues. And he can just add stress to units as well. And adding stress to units is pretty serious because they can basically just lock down a unit and allow the elves to have complete control of the board. So again, for 25 points, I think this guy is really, really good. I'm not sure if you're going to be bringing both of these guys, but depending on the playstyle that you're approaching, I would definitely think about bringing one of these shadow support units. I think they're really, really solid. So yeah, that set is looking pretty cool. There's also, and I love this sculpt, Aileen, Cethir, Wynn. I'm pronouncing that completely wrong. Aileen, Cethir, Wynn, and the model is just asking to be a kind of display piece to just do something fun with. I know not a lot of people always like these types of kind of models on as a gaming piece, but I really dig the fact that they're trying some really, really different styled sculpts for Warcrow, and it really showcases what she does, which is teleport around the board like absolutely crazy. She can teleport all over the place. She can place herself 10 strides, then resolve a ranged attack and place herself 10 strides. And that's all with one action, which is pretty insane. So I think you can actually walk after that as well, because this is one of her special abilities, so I only think that costs 1 AP. So you could still do a move after that as well, making her incredibly mobile. You could just blink across the board to take objectives. Now, she also has a conquest of 0, so she's not going to be contesting against other units. However, if your opponent has been foolish enough to leave an objective just completely alone, she'll just zip, zip, zip right over to it and just claim it because no one else is there. Very, very useful. And at 20 points, just to have that unit be a bother and to make your opponent force their hand into keeping a unit back on a particular objective and out of the game, that in itself could be very much worth it. On top of that, she doesn't seem to have a particularly good attack or defense, except that you're allowed to add any dice you want to the roll, which is a very interesting ability. It's this 1,000 Masters. When you gather an attack or defense roll, add 1 die of your choice to your roll. That's kind of interesting. I mean, she's not got a particularly strong ability either way, so even if you're adding that extra die, it might not be particularly great still. But a 20-point model, being able to zip around so easily, just be a nuisance to the opponent, it seems pretty cool. And just having that model on the table would look so cool as well. So definitely 10 out of 10 for the model sculpt, I think. Don't know if I would be that tempted to field her. I do like the support units a bit more, but I do see her use. I think she's pretty cool. And yeah, just for the fact that the model looks so cool, I think it's kind of worth it. Yeah, I'm really sold on the Syennan. I think they're looking really, really good. We also have a release for the Scions of Yaldabaoth. Excuse me, don't know what came over me. But we've got the Liberated. And these guys are, I guess, a bit like blood elves. These 4 elves in a unit basically are a pretty decent combat unit. But what's kind of interesting is they have this teleportation ability that when they attack or are attacked, they have a switch that allows them to be placed 5 strides, which is pretty awesome. It means that as they attack or get attacked, they can zip around a little bit. They also have the Broken Shackles, which If they're engaged with a target unit, they can also spend an action, as long as that unit is frightened, to shove the unit 5 strides, and then displace themselves to engage with that unit again, which is a pretty cool ability to just shift someone off an objective and zip to their position and block their way through. That's pretty cool. Every time they also engage into an enemy, that enemy receives the frightened state as well. So it's very easy to set up. And if they have the keywords of fearless or intimidating, they also received the disarm state as well, which is a pretty good bonus. So I think they're a pretty solid unit. They only have a conquest of 1, but that's all you kind of need if you're going to be placing the opponent off of the objective and forcing your position. Now, I do not know the Scions of Yaldabaoth very well, but it seems like a pretty cool unit. I'm not sure how it will synergize with everything else that's in the Scions, because I just really haven't had time to look at them properly since their big release. But I will be very, very interested in finding out more and seeing where these guys really fit in tactically and how they synergize with the rest of the Scions. So yeah, pretty cool unit, and they look pretty awesome as well. I think there'll be a lot of fun to paint those ones. They're pretty nice. Feudom is also getting a unit of foot knights, and these guys feel like a bit of a tar-pitting unit, a bit like the Bucklerman or the Bulwarks from Hegemony of Embasig. These guys do it in their own Feudom style. So a little slow moving with their 2-3 move and only 8 stride charge. Nothing too slow, but it's on the slower end of things, especially when it becomes pushes and things. They'll only be pushed 2 strides because that's their first initial movement. Decently tough units with a pretty good defensive save, and also a switch to add more shields to their roll means that, yeah, they're going to be hard to wound. Attacking wise, they're not particularly that offensive. They have a few offensive dice, but they also have defensive in there. They do have an automatic hit, which is, I think, very much appreciated. That makes them at least somewhat decent there. And I think they can still like eke out a few hits here and there, but their main thing is going to be kind of tar-pitting a unit. And they can, well, mind you, I say that, but they've got a defensive roll a little bit, but they can also, with a shield, cancel a symbol from the target, which is pretty good as well. So you can actually choose which symbol you're cancelling from the target. So if they get an offensive hit at you, you could just cancel that perhaps, or if they get a shield when you're attacking, you can just cancel that one. That's kind of nice. Or if you want to stop them from getting a certain switch triggered, you can cancel that symbol. Fantastic. It's also very interesting as well that on their attack, one of their switches is that they can cause stress to their opponent. So again, this further has the possibility of tar-pitting a unit, because if you can stress that unit, it'll push them further closer to their limit, and they won't be able to properly activate again without a rest. And that's, I think, in its own way, a pretty powerful thing to do. So these guys are basically going to go and sit on an objective or contest an objective. They've only got a contest of 1, but they can just tar-pit units and hold them in place. On top of that, they also have a command ability. So you spend a command token to do this ability. They also bring a command token to your army as well. So it actually is, that's quite nice. So they have For the Glory, which at the cost of 1 command point, when they attack or are attacked, they can fix the result of one of their die from the roll. So you can roll your dice, and if one of those dice just gives you nothing, you can just fix that to give you the best face on that die, which is a pretty good thing to have, because you can choose to do this once the roll is made. So you go, okay, I really need this 1 extra success or 2 extra successes, and I can change this dice now to get me what I need. and in those clinch moments, that's really, really good. So interesting unit. It's 35 points. It's quite expensive unit for something that's quite slow and a bit of just a tar pitter. But it's definitely got his uses. I do quite like them, and the models look lovely, absolutely beautiful. If you're into like Warhammer's Bretonia and you want that kind of style of things, Feudom is definitely raising the game on that stuff. It looks beautiful, and the paint job is really, really done nicely on the studio paint job. Love the Feudom. And they're all the releases for Warcrow for the December pre-orders. Anything that you're going to be going after? Myself, I am a little interested in the Syennan, so I may treat myself to a little Christmas stroke birthday present with maybe those support units there. And yeah, I think Warcrow's got some really nice units coming out. I really want to jump back into Warcrow soon, because right now it feels like there is enough that has been released to really, really sink your teeth into the game. And with the tournament system out now as well, I really want to play some games of it. Infinity is doing really, really well in the area. I know another friend of mine is going to want to push Warcrow, so we might start bringing this a little bit more to our days. So I might start purchasing a few Warcrow minis and trying to field them on the battlefield. It should be fun. Anyway, I hope you all have a lovely, lovely day, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.